Hey Royals, it's K Nicole coming to you live. Decided to do this live rather than talking to the camera just regularly because you never know, there might be people that want to interact and have the information that they want to know. So I thought, hey, let me go live and talk about it for those that might be interested. So let's get down to business. So for those that don't know, I created my own hair oil. I've had this hair oil for about 3.5 years. I've been making this hair oil. I could go into I'm going to go into later on why I started the hair oil in the first place, because that's a story in itself. But I want to start from the beginning of how all this came to be, because when you have your hair journey, you learn more about yourself. And this was my first locked journey. Everyone has their own personal hair journey and how things have came to be, but I want to share mine. So how I got to where I am today with making the hair oil, wanting to sell the hair oil, and getting it out to all of you, and for you to try it and check it out, because it's all natural, it's organic, it's vegan. This oil particularly is vegan. I have another oil that I'm working on that is not vegan. It's actually made from emu, but that's again something else, so I don't want to get all over the place, even though I probably will. So I'm going to try my best to curtail myself in how I talk. So let's start from the beginning. When I decided that I was even thinking about locking my hair in the first place. Because everyone's like, oh my goodness, when you first decide to lock your hair, everyone's like, that's a big commitment. Why are you doing that? All these preconceived notions about those that have dreadlocks. They don't wash them, they're dirty, you can't do anything with them, whatever case might be. So I decided to get locks because I was tired of just doing all these different hairstyles. I was very finicky when I was younger. Anything as far as hair, I've probably done it. Wigs, weaves, not so much, because I wasn't really big into that. But I used to rock wigs in high school, doing braids, bobs, like you name it. I've done that hairstyle, coloring my hair, everything I could think of. And I was starting to get bored, and I got bored with my hair very easily. I would color my hair maybe every couple of months, change it up every couple of weeks, like constantly doing something different with my hair and spending a lot of money, because as anybody knows, getting hair done in the Black community is expensive, especially since they make so much money off of us. But that's again another topic for another time. So let me get real comfortable with you guys. Get real comfortable. So I decided, okay, so I wanted to get locks, and I didn't know anybody. Well, I did know, actually. My brother had locks at that time. Big, beautiful, blonde locks, actually, that were naturally blonde. Jealous, right? Yeah. So he had naturally blonde locks. So I had seen his, but his was like really thick, and I didn't want that per se. So I didn't know anybody outside of him that had locks. I had seen them out, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I would love that hairstyle, but I never tried it. I never did the faux goddess locks or anything like that. That was never anything. I was just going to go fresh into it and get locks. So my inspiration for getting locks was Erykah Badu, and of course Lauryn Hill. That was my girl. So I was like, I want to have hair like that. How do I get that? So you have to do your research and research in different people and different kinds of locks, because there's all different kinds of locks out here. There are sister locks, there's medium-sized locks, there's large locks, there is free-forming locks, there's the cultivated locks. So there's so many different types. So when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my hair as far as the locking process, I didn't know exactly where I was going to start. But I knew the basics. I knew that I would have to get my hair done. I knew that shrinkage was very real and how I was going to be able to deal with that. So I just had to do a lot of research. And that's one thing that I encourage anybody to do. Whenever you decide that you want to change something about your hair, do your research. Like, even with coloring it, people think like they're so quick to color, but that changes it just changes the structure of your hair. Like, it just changes it completely. So I would encourage anybody that decides to color or do anything with their hair that they do the proper research and knowing exactly what is going to happen to their hair when they decide to do this. So I was already natural, already had a big ass afro that I was rocking around, and I was like, I didn't know what much to do with it, because whenever I had my natural hair, I was having it in braids. I was having it, styled in some kind of braided look at that time. So what was I going to do with my puffy hair besides braid it and leave it in afro? So I'm like, definitely I want to lock it up. I want to lock it up. So there was different kind of locks, the way to start locks. There was the braided pattern, the 2-strand twist. There was also back combing that I saw that I had seen. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know where I want to start, but I know that I definitely want small locks. And I was being told by a friend of mine, a friend's mother, and she had locks at one time. She had, but she told me that I should get sister locks. And at that time, I didn't know anybody that could do sister locks. I just knew that the palm rolling was the way to lock the hair, and that was about it. Like, really had no idea past that with natural hair as far as getting locks. So what happened was I started to reach out to different beauticians in New York. Hi. Good evening. It's nighttime now. It's been a long ass day. So hello. So what happened? So I did my research and was like, I definitely want to get locks. Like I said, just constantly about research. Then, lo and behold, I am in New York and I'm doing background acting. So at this time, I'm at Central Castings, and I'm working with a bunch of people. And at this time, this is when Power is first out. So I'm an extra on Power. The first episode, which is the club scene, which I actually can see myself in those past episodes. So, past episode, because I didn't apply for anything past that. So with Central Castings, you can only go on a show for in that time frame, 2 weeks. So if you've already been in that week, you can't go into another week to go onto the same show. You just can't do it. So at that time, hey, sweetheart, at that time, it was Power. It was the first episode. So it was what it was. So I was like, okay, great. So while I was on the set of Power, which was a long ass day, oh my goodness, if you are doing any kind of television show as a background actor, you were going to be there all day. I was there. I was on the set of Power from 7 in the morning till about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. And not even shooting the entire time. You just had to make sure that you stayed at the studio, because if they called you and you weren't there, then you just didn't get to shoot. So while I'm meeting the other background actors on the Power set, they tell me, I meet this guy and he has these awesome, beautiful locks. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, they look so great. I'm thinking about locking my hair. Who did you go to? So he tells me that he went to this woman who I will later talk about in another chapter of it. but that he went to this woman to get his locks done. So I'm like, well, I had seen her online and I was really interested in her and the process and everything like that. But she had, at that time I was still pricing different kinds of locks and how I was going to get them done. So when he told me that, I was like, oh my goodness, like this was one of the people that I was going to check out. So I was like really thankful for the information, and I would like to know who that guy is now. I want to know, because I don't know if he's still doing the acting and everything, but I would like to know if he's still going to her and if he's still getting her locks done, because that was a horror story. A straight up horror story right there. So, but he was the first person to give me a direction on where I should go and get my locks. So it was surprisingly in Manhattan, right? Yeah, that part of New York is, I think that's still Manhattan, or by the Bowery. Well, she's by the Bowery. So that shop is by the Bowery, Lower Manhattan. I don't know. Don't get me to lying, but that's where she was. So I did my research on this particular woman, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to her. So she told me it was going to be $1,000 to start my locks. Now, I should have known from then that this was going to be an issue. I don't know anyone who has paid for their starting locks at $1,000, but she was looking to charge me $1,000 to get locks. I know some people start and got their locks for like $50. Some, start at $100, but she was charging me $1,000 to start my locks. So, yeah. Didn't know what I was about to get into. Did not know what I was about to get into. But I learned a very, very valuable lesson. And I'm going to talk about that another time. But thank you for tuning in to the first segment of how I started my locks and how I got into it. So there you have it. So yeah, did my research, had my brother, met somebody at the power set that told me to go to this person, and yeah, that was pretty much. Yeah, exactly. It was crazy. It was completely insane that she charges $1,000. But what's more insane is that I paid it. But we're gonna go, like I said, we're gonna go more into that on another time. I'm sure. But like I said, it's a learning process. That's why I'm talking about my hair journey, because it was in fact a journey. And learning about my hair and just everything that comes with it. Because in the start of my hair journey, I didn't like my hair. I'll be completely honest. I didn't like my hair. My hair is, I wouldn't say if it's 4C, 3C. I don't even have what a number of what it is. All I know is that my hair is like a sponge. So I have high porosity hair. That it sucks up water like a sponge. That as soon as heat touches my hair, it goes straight. Like you can put a hot comb through it one time, my hair goes completely straight. Which I find to be very interesting. So I still have like certain edges in the back of my in the nape of my neck are super straight hair. They're not curly, they're just bone straight. So which is really weird. Ask what? What should I have asked? I asked her before the consultation. Like, I had a whole consultation with her. Like I said, I'm going to talk about that at another segment, but I just wanted to break it up, how I got to where I'm at with my hair journey. Because when I first started, a hair oil was probably the furthest thing from my mind. And now I've been making it for a while, and now I'm selling it and giving it to the public, which it's helped my hair flourish, and so I just want to help everyone else's hair flourish as well. Yeah, but like I said, that was the beginning of my journey. I'm going into my 6th year locked. So I learned a lot from the beginning of my lock journey, and I've cut it a little bit between that. But like I said, I'm going to go further into my lock journey, into my hair journey completely. But that was just the start of it, and I think that was interesting enough to be able to learn all the different kinds of ways to start the locks. My inspiration for them, which I said was Erykah Badu and Lauryn Hill. And yeah, that I first even decided to start my locks like officially when I was on the set of Power. So, and that is when all the bullshit happens. Like, I'm thankful I met that person, but then I would like to meet that person now, and I would like to say, like, do you still go to her? Do you? Like, please let me know. Let me talk to you for a minute, because me and her, yeah. So, okay, well, I mean, now if I want to speed up to now, I get my hair interlocked. And then I'll have it palm rolled every once in a while, but I get it interlocked every 3 months in Jersey, and then I'll get it done here whenever I have like a shoot or something like that, or I just want to change it up real quick, my hairstyle. So yeah, and for this hairstyle, shout out to Kat from Impressive Hair. She hooked me up. She's in Brooklyn. Shout outs to her for doing this pipe cleaner look for me. I've done pipe cleaners in the past. Actually, I guess there's more for me to share, because I'm like looking down, I'm like, the whole parts and everything like that, like that was a different thing, like the whole part pattern. Like I told you, this is probably going to jump all over the place. So I'm like probably the worst storyteller in the world, not gonna lie. But that's another thing I learned about the parting system, that there's brick layered partings, there's diamond parts, there's like circle parts, like there's so many different ones. And I had to learn. So, but my most valuable lesson was going to the Bowery and getting my hair done there. So, like I said, that's when I'm going to end it, with going to the Bowery. So I'll pick up next time on my lock journey. So thank you for tuning in, and above all, always keep your crown straight. Take care.